I just wanted to ask about the Lamb's Book of Life and your name being blotted out. What leads up to that? And also, too, are you redeemable for your name to be rewritten in the Lamb's Book of Life?
Yeah, well, my view is that the concept of the book that God writes, the Book of Life, is a concept that you can't understand in the New Testament unless you understand it in the Old Testament. And what God has done in the New Testament is he's made it more specific in saying there's not only a book of life, right? There's a book of eternal life. And we often call it, right, the Lamb's Book of Life, as it's called in the book of Revelation. So here's the thing. I think we need to start first and say, if Moses is there in Exodus 32, which I just read this morning, I think, and here's Moses saying, don't blot me out of your book. Or if you're not going to forgive these people, blot me out of your book, the book that you've written. The idea here of the book of life, as we see in the book of Psalms, we see it in the Old Testament, we see it all the way back to Moses' writings. It's a concept of if you're there, right, you're alive. If you're not there, right, then you die. And God will take you out of the annals of the living. Okay, in the New Testament now, we're not so much concerned, we are concerned about life here on this earth, but we're concerned about eternal life because that's far more important. And so the reality of eternal life, right, we start to see now, anybody whose name's written in that book, as it says in Genesis 3:5, will never be blotted out. And that's the point. It won't be blotted out. And people say, wait a minute, why would he mention blotting it out if you can't get it blotted out? Well, you could, because everything about the Jewish mindset is the book of life, you can be blotted out of it and you're going to die. When you die on this planet, you're blotted out of God's book of the living. Well, you're never blotted out of this other book. And so that's why the need for the statement, your name will not be blotted out of the book. And that's the point. And I think Christians are not subject to that. Now, here's what Christians are subject to. For all the people that don't like this answer right now, they're listening to me and they're starting to fume. Here's people whose names are never written in the book of life. People that are phony converts. People that come to church and look like Christians and go forward and pray the prayer and read a Bible and do whatever, but